Hey there, it's Julie Hutchison here from Think, Be, Do Leadership, and that's my dog in the background. Apologies. So, Julie from Think, Be, Do Leadership. Here we are going to be talking about the problem with women in leadership. And I did laugh when I wrote that because I thought, well, that's going to get a few people's backs up, isn't it? But the reality is that it's Friday afternoon and I'm feeling a bit, bolshy today. I don't think there's a problem with women in leadership. Of course, as a woman, I think we have every right to be there, and we are in a lot of places. But what I also know is that there are problems getting there. There are problems sometimes, not every organisation, but we suffer sometimes, some people, some women suffer from frustrations from not getting where we want to be. And I want to look at why that actually is. Does that make sense? So if you're listening live, please say hello. Maybe you are a woman who is frustrated, who wants to move on, who wants to grow as a leader and wants to get that position that you'd love to, but you haven't. Or maybe you have got it and you're feeling a little bit like, now what do I do? Or, you feel a bit like an imposter in that role. I hear that a lot. Or maybe you're a business owner and you've got a business and you're growing your business and you're having to step up as a leader because you've got staff and you're growing and you need to look at how to be a better leader. Maybe that's where you are. Or maybe you're a man. Maybe you're here because you actually either want to know about the problem with women in leadership, or you, like me, believe that actually it doesn't matter whether you're a man, a woman, or anything in between. It's really about who you are as a person and how you show up. I don't know, but maybe you're here for one of those reasons. So if you are watching this, whether you're watching it live or whether you're watching on the replay, and if you are, hashtag replay in any comments, please. Whichever way, what we want to talk about is, well, what are the issues? Why do women suffer those problems of not getting where they want to do, or not feeling confident when we are in those positions? Now, if you're just about on the tip of your tongue saying to me, well, I feel confident and I'm fine, that's brilliant. And do you know what? Amazing. And I applaud you and I salute you, because great. Then you are one of the ones who hasn't had that problem, hasn't experienced it, or have overcome that. And if you have overcome it, please tell me, because that would be even more interesting to me, because I want to know how we can get everybody to overcome that. So maybe that's why you're here. But wouldn't it be better if, as I said, it really doesn't matter whether you're a man, woman, or anything in between, but as a person, you were able to get where you want to get to. You were respected as a leader and you were able to be heard and listened to, and you had a team that you were able to influence, whether that be your business or you're in somebody else's business. Wouldn't that be amazing? And that you could feel like you are in the place you want to be. And that's what I want to talk about today is, well, you know what, like, why doesn't that work sometimes? And I just want to talk a little bit. This is a little bit of a vulnerability post in a way, but when I was in the police, I was there for 16 years and I left in 2013 as an inspector. But when I was a sergeant and I just had 2 kids, and I was probably just before I had my kids, my first kid, Alex, before that, I was probably at my best, my most confident. At that time, I felt like I knew what I was doing. I had the respect of my colleagues. I had the respect of my boss, and it was just all going totally swimmingly. And once I came back after having Alex, I was really having a hard time with my new boss, and it was very, very uncomfortable. Now, we won't go into the ins and outs. That's a whole nother story that I probably don't want to put all over LinkedIn or Facebook. I'll tell you down the pub one day. But let's just, needless to say, what happened was that we clashed. We didn't work. It was a lady boss, and she ruined my confidence. And I say that in a way, I sound like a victim. I let her ruin my confidence, I would say. But let's say that we clashed and we did not support each other in our journey as women in leadership positions. Okay. And what that meant is that I lost confidence. I didn't want to be there. I didn't go for the things I should have gone for. And it got to a point where I really didn't believe in myself at all. And it wasn't until I was sent on a senior women in leadership program, I was picked up by a wonderful leader in the police called Cheryl, who actually said to me, look, don't take this to heart. It's just a disagreement. It's just the way women are sometimes. but I believe in you. I know you can do it. And it wasn't until she said that I thought, hold on a second, I'm making this all about me, but actually it's not. It's just a situation I need to dig myself out of. And I did. And I went on that Senior Women in Leadership program a long time ago now. I can't even remember what year it was. And it changed my mindset about me. It changed my thinking about what I want. And it changed the behavior that I then decided to display. And because of that, I then got promoted. I then had more opportunities. I was able to show up in a different way and deliver a different kind of value, I think, to be honest, as well. And so I want to explore some of the things about, well, what is it that helps us to get where we want to be and what stops us, really? So if you're listening live, do say hello, because I'd love to hear if that resonates with you. So what is it then? Well, for a start, I think one of the biggest things that I see with people who've gone through my leadership programs, who I coach, who just having a conversation with in previous roles and anywhere, is a lot of what I see about women who either don't put themselves up for the positions they want, or don't step up as leaders when they could and should, or are in a position of leadership but don't make it effective. Predominantly, it's around the belief and the confidence to be the authentic person that you need to be. And we feel often that, oh, this is a different kind of person. The leader is somebody I am not. And when we have that imposter syndrome, should we say, or when we have that feeling like I'm not enough, we then start comparing ourselves to other people, men, you name it, anybody else. And we look for evidence that we're not good enough. And this is the crux of the thing for me, is that if you start looking for evidence that you're not good enough, surprise, surprise, what you're going to find? You're going to find evidence, because that's what you're looking for. Your old brain is going to say, oh, well, I'll dig out some of that then, shall I? So when things don't go quite to plan, or when things don't go as you thought it was going to there, you use that as oh, see, that's proof that I'm not good enough. And when you don't step up in a meeting and you get talked over, you can use it as an excuse. Oh, I'm not good enough. See, they don't think I'm worth listening to. But actually, it's a lot of the time, it's the belief that we hold that changes the behavior, changes the mindset that we have. It changes the behaviors that we then display that maybe didn't put us in a place where we should have spoken up or we could have spoken up. Okay, so belief is massive when it comes to women in positions, and that belief then allows us to look for reasons why not to do something. Why not? I was talking today, actually, I put a little post up about having gone swimming because I have a chip in my tooth there. And that was when I was a kid, a long time ago. And 40 years ago, I dived into the shallow end of the swimming pool and did that. And from that point, I believed I couldn't swim very well and would be absolute rubbish doing doggy paddle round and not liking to put my head under the water. I told myself a story that I'm not good at that, and therefore I didn't try. I didn't go. I didn't practice. So I wasn't any good at it. So the belief that we have, it messes with our behaviors. It messes with the things that we will say, the things that we will do, and the opportunities that we try or not try to take up. So the first thing is we've got to believe that we can, and we have every right to do what everybody else would want to do. Okay. And that goes along with that confidence to then be who we really are. And that's my second point, is that when I'm one of the modules in the leadership program, the Leaders Launchpad that we run, quite often we get a thing of like, well, what does a leader look like? And we often end up having this conversation about, really kind of like probably male and white, middle-aged people who are like super confident and talk a lot and are really outgoing. And it's like, where do you get that idea from? Where do you get that from? And I think the confidence is linked to the belief that you're not enough. But the confidence is because we are looking at what a leader should be, and kind of like making up this image of this person. Yeah, it's not actually true, because what people, and think about this yourself, if you've ever had a boss or somebody that you've worked with, it doesn't even have to be a boss, a colleague, what is it that you attract you to wanting to work with them. It's their authenticity. It's like knowing where you stand. It's knowing what you're supposed to be doing. It's being able to smile and laugh and tell the truth and be honest and vulnerable and all those things, so that you have a relationship that you can grow and you can test things out and you can make good decisions. So a leader isn't about being the big I am. The leader is about enabling those people to feel comfortable and safe and to know what they're supposed to be doing, and to grow and foster that culture of feeling secure enough to take the risks and the decisions that you want them to take. So where in there does it say that you have to be a certain type of person? You've got to have certain type of behaviors, I should imagine, but you don't need to be a certain type of person. There's no one person that fits. So I think that confidence comes from realizing that you don't have to be anybody except for yourself. Does that make sense? Yeah. So we're going to talk about this a little bit more in a training that I'm going to be doing very soon, and I'll put it out on LinkedIn. And if you're interested in attending that training, please put training in the comments, and then I can see it. I can send you the link. Okay. Then the third thing I think is that often what I see is that we don't know how to get the best out of ourselves and how to show up in the best way. So what we don't have are the strategies to apply practically as a leader. And what I see a lot of is, there's loads of lovely posts about leadership, and there's lots of theoretical stuff. But what I love to focus on with people in my program is that, okay, let's just make that look like something on a day-to-day basis. What does that really look like in today? If we were going out there and implementing this today, how would I show up? What would I be saying? What would I be doing? Because the problem is that if it's all theoretical, we don't have the strategies and the actual actions and behaviors that we need to take. So we need something a bit clearer to know, well, how do I actually do that? How do I actually show up and say the right things at the right time and do the right things at the right time? So I think when we've got the strategies and we've got it practically, then it doesn't matter who you are, that's so much easier to apply. Yeah. Well, so we're kind of like step back because we think it's far more complicated and more convoluted and highfalutin, I suppose. And it's not. It's really, really clear and simple. Our job is to help other people make good decisions. And the way they make good decisions is to feel comfortable and to feel happy and to feel wanted and to feel part of something and to know where on earth it is you're trying to get to, and having that clarity. So the strategies that are missing for people, and so they're just kind of like floundering around trying to make up their own stuff. And that brings me on to the last point, which is the support that we need to grow. Now, you've all heard the phrase personal development, but it doesn't just you don't just sit there and personally develop. Yeah, and if you do a lot of personal development, you can sit there and work on your own mind, of course, but you need to be able to be challenged and to have your beliefs challenged and to have support to be able to do that, because it's not always easy to change how you're thinking. And if you're already thinking it, your brain's doing a really good job of telling you what to think, and that's the bit that you want to change. So we need to get outside ourselves and start looking in. And I think there's two things I think about support. First one is that often women aren't very good at supporting each other, which I find really weird. And that happened in the police a lot. It was a bit like it was a challenge between us as opposed to supporting ourselves to grow between us, if that makes sense. So it was like we were competing rather than collaborating. That's what I mean. And so what happened is that if someone was a woman who was doing something, you kind of felt like, oh, competitive. So you didn't rely on each other. You felt that was actually a danger zone. And then that led to a lot of stabbing in the back and talking about other women and checking each other out and looking. And this again takes us back to this, like comparing ourselves to other people. And actually what we need instead of that is support of each other so that we can grow. And that's one of the things that I've got an all women cohort, not by design actually, but by the fact that that just happened to be. And what my biggest biggest thing to all of these ladies when I started was, if we're an all-female group, I'm going to have a conversation with you, and that is that this is a group that supports each other no matter what. This is a group that we don't have anyone who is competing here. We have people who are collaborating and growing together, and I make that absolutely clear. And I think that's really, really important, because we actually need to support each other. And not against the men. This, as I said in my little blurb beforehand, this is not about men bashing. I have no problem with men. Men are just as good leaders as women, as are leaders as no, I said that the wrong way. As are women just as good leaders as men. It doesn't matter what you are. It's what you think, what you say, what you do. Okay, but we've got to support each other if we're going to be in that environment, rather than fighting over it. Who wants a cat fight? Don't need that. So then you need the support of somebody outside of that environment to be able to help you to grow and to challenge you and to show you the way. And so that's why we have our Leaders Launchpad. And like I said, this cohort, it wasn't that it's not like men are excluded. It just happened to be all women. And I saw this and I thought, my goodness, that's really, really interesting that it was all women. So if you would like to dig in more and have some conversations about this, then I'm going to have, it's not a training, so to speak. I want to talk about it and I want your opinions on it. And I don't care if you're a man or a woman. What I want is your opinions on it. And so I would love you to come along to the session that we're going to hold. Let's call it a discussion session, not a training, about what is it that women need to be able to step up as leaders, and your experiences as to whether or not that's been something for you, whether you are a man wanting to, make the diversity in your business wider, or you are a woman who are experiencing good things or bad things, then I'd love to hear it and have that conversation. So if you would like to be part of that, I did say put training in there into the comments, even though it's going to be much more of a discussion session, let's say, rather than just a training session. Okay, so let me know if you would like to be part of that, and I will get you the details. So in summary, then, what I'm saying is that the problem with women in leadership is not that we are there. It is that often, not always and not for everybody, but often we lack belief, we lack confidence, we need strategies, and we need more support to be able to grow and to step into the role that we are absolutely destined to have and we should be having. So if that is of interest to you, give me a shout. Julie at Think Be Do Leadership. You can either message me on LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever you like. I don't mind. Send me an email, Julie at thinkbedoleadership.com. Thank you very much for your attention, and let's see if you agree with me. If you disagree with me, then stick it in the comments, and let's see if we can start a conversation about this. Thank you. Have a lovely, lovely weekend. Take care.